Saturday. Happiest Saturday to you. You are tuned in to the American Cream, a financial educational show where I show you, teach you, lead you, and guide you on ways to redefine the American dream on your terms with Cream. And Cream stands for credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. If today is your first time here, welcome. You are now a part of the Cream Tribe, as I like to call us, our clan, our group. You're part of the Cream Tribe. And if you are a returning listener, returning Cream Tribe member, thank you so much for being here. You all know how we do it. This is being recorded live on Facebook, and I will stream it also to the YouTube channel as well. So if you're on Facebook, make sure that you go ahead and come on in, get in here, share. As you come in, you have to do two things: share this post and then also affirm yourself. You know what we do? We get up in the morning and we affirm ourselves. We affirm ourselves. We don't wait for anybody else to do it. We don't seek external validation. We build ourselves up so much so that when we enter the marketplace, when we enter the ecosystem, when we venture out into the world, we not only know whose we are, we know who we are. And when we know who we are, then we can focus on what it is that we're supposed to do. So while you're here in the comment section, affirm yourself. I am my biggest asset. I achieved the seemingly impossible. I have not given you all a new affirmation in a few weeks because I want you to focus on the ones that we gave you, that I already provided. So it's almost like I want you to eat all the food that's on your plate before I add more food to it. So those affirmations: I achieved the seemingly impossible, and I am my biggest, I am my greatest asset, are two very powerful affirmations that you should be saying to yourself. You should be saying to your children, your loved ones, everybody and anybody who you come in contact with that you care about. Affirm them and affirm yourself. And when you affirm yourself, it makes it easier for you to affirm others. It's like, hey, I feel good. I want you to feel good as well. So get in here, get in here, get in here. I see the comments. We got the comments working back. They weren't working last week on Facebook, I think maybe for 2 weeks. So now they're working. So I can see everybody rolling in here. Miss Dorothy, thank you so much for being here. Catrice, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Aaron, that's right. I take advantage of all the opportunities that are available to me. Miss Redhead says, I am my biggest asset. Hey, Mr. Henderson's brother from another mother, Jerome McMillan. Miss Redhead again. All right, so we're going to get into it for today. So last week I started talking about, we discussed how to build wealth in your 20s. And time got away from us because, as we know now, the American Cream is 30 minutes long. It's 30 minutes short and sweet. We get in and we get out and we go on about our day so that we can implement what we learn. So we started talking about how to build wealth in your 20s. And before I go into today's show, I want to remind everyone listening that information can always be applied. So you may be thinking, well, I'm not in my 20s. I'm in my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. No problem. This information can still apply to you. It's never too late to go back and have a refresher. It's never too late to go back and do some things that you did not do before. So although this is directed to my 20 somethings, I believe that people who are older than 20 or who have graduated past their 20 somethings can benefit from this information as well. All right. So if you have not watched last week's episode, make sure you do that. We talked about recognizing that for the most part, we're sheep. Right? We're born as sheep. Our parents raise us. Our environment raises us. And at some point, we need to get to the space of understanding that we have a decision. We can decide to no longer follow the herd. We can decide to break free. We can decide to be the black sheep. And so that is really what the premise of the American Cream is about. The American Cream is about understanding that what you see on TV, understanding that what the people around you are doing is not the only way, and it may not be the best way. Now, before I get into today's topic, I want to share with you, I'm not sure if you keep up with the financial news, but earlier this week, I read a headline that said something about Biden preparing to increase the taxes if you make a certain amount of money, and then also tax capital gains and things like that. And I sighed. I did exactly what I just did. I sighed because in that moment, I realized and I was reminded that there are levels to everything. So really quickly, and then we're going to get into what we're going to talk about. There are levels to everything, and I want you to keep this in mind. There are some people who read that or read that headline or hear about the new proposed tax changes, and they're like, that don't have nothing to do with me. They don't have nothing to do with me. I'm not in that tax bracket. I don't invest. I'm not invested in Bitcoin. I don't have any capital gains. That's a foreign language. That has nothing to do with me. There's a group of people who read that and just kept reading and kept scrolling. And those people are likely the people who look forward to receiving an income tax return every year. Okay, so that's one level. Then there are those people who are like, oh gosh, okay, wow, this, let me read more. This may apply to me because of some things that I have going on financially. Maybe my income is where, I may be in jeopardy of getting taxed more. Maybe I do have investments and I'm worried about capital gains. And so let me read more, and oh, darn, this is not good. Right. So that's the second group of people. And that group of people at tax time, they generally are their concern is not getting a tax refund. Their concern is just, oh gosh, please don't let me owe the IRS. Like I hope and pray and wish that everything is set up in the way that I've planned enough so that I don't owe the IRS. Okay, so the first group is they want a refund. They're not paying attention to that article. The second group is just don't let me owe them people. Okay. And then there's a third group of people. And this third group of people we don't readily talk about, but this group of people exists. And I want to bring this to the show just very briefly. There's a group of people that understand, okay, they're raising taxes and they're proposing playing with the taxes again. But now that I am in this society, or I'm in this bucket of people who understand how to control without ownership, I'll be okay. I'm not really worried about that because I've graduated from the space of having my ego inflated by owning everything. And I know that's deep. I know it because we're taught, hey, you got to own something. You have to own something. So when you hear me saying control everything and own nothing, you're like, Hyacinth, that goes beyond traditional ideology. And yes, it does. It does. It truly, truly does. But there are levels to it. And I want you to know that there are a group of people who we're like, okay, you proposing taxes? All right, well, my assets are titled in this way. I don't technically own them. My income goes through this corporation or this entity or this company or this. It flows through these asset protection measures. So you can tax the people who making $1 million more all you want to. But on my tax return, it's that I make X, Y, Z. There are levels to it. And so we're not going to get deep into that today. But I want to share with you, and everything that you're listening to, every time you have an encounter, ask yourself, what level am I at and how do I grow to the next level? How do I grow to the next level? Okay. All right. So building wealth in your 20s, part 2. So your 20 somethings are about discovering and developing. The theme of the 20 somethings are discovering and developing. Okay. So if you're in your 20s, if you have a friend, a family, a loved one, share this with your people and they're in their 20s, understand that period of time is about discovering and developing, discovering who you are, discovering why you're here, discovering who you want to be, and discovering the legacy that you're going to leave. Discovery is different from being dictated to. Up until our 20 somethings, 9 times out of 10, most people are being dictated to. We're being dictated by our parents, our loved ones, and society. When you get 20, it's time to discover. Because if you continue to allow yourself to be dictated to, then you will get what they have. So always keep in mind as you're floating through your 20 somethings, understand I want you to discover your place in this ecosystem. And that is what these wealth building tips and principles that I am sharing with you are all about. Yes, they're going to require you to do some work. I want you to do the work now, because if you don't do the work for yourself, you're always going to be working for someone else. Again, if you're just joining and you out of your 20 somethings, this message is still for you. Nothing happens by coincidence or happenstance. This message is for you. And there are some things that you can take away from this. As a matter of fact, someone emailed me last week or earlier this week and said, Hyacinth, I just want to let you know that people are listening. I'm not in my 20 somethings. I believe she's actually in her 50s. And I have $150,000 worth of student loans and I have not been paying them. But after listening to your show, I made a $500 payment on it. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for sharing because we're listening. And I thanked her so much because I'm like, listen, it feels like I'm sitting behind the camera just talking my full head off. I don't know if y'all listening, if y'all implementing or what. So this is for you, whoever you are. All right. So we went through 1 through 7. The first one that I want to share with you today, we're going to call this number 8. Okay. That I want to share with you today is enhance a skill or a talent. Discover your skill or your talent. Why do I say this? You need a skill to be able to continuously level up and survive in the marketplace. In order for you to be in society, in order for you to be an above average member of society, not average, because on Cream, we are above average. You have got to find a skill or a talent that serves others, and you got to keep learning it. So for some people, it's like we get out of high school or college and okay, I don't have to learn no more. Whew, I'm so glad I made it through high school. Whew, I'm so glad I got out of college because I don't have to learn no more. Newsflash, if you want to break free, you're going to have to learn. So while you're in your 20s and you're exploring and you're discovering, you're moving from being dictated to, I want you to understand that when you discover one at a time, not one for your lifetime, but when you discover one at a time and continuously developing a skill, you will always be in demand. Because here's the thing, people pay you for the things that they don't know, can't do, or are unwilling to do. People pay you for the things that they don't know, can't do, or are unwilling to do. Let me share an example. I am unwilling to go outside and cut my grass. I am sure that I could cut my grass, but since I am unwilling to go outside and cut my grass, I have to pay a lawnman. I don't know how to change the oil on my car. I'm actually unwilling to learn that as well. I have to pay the servicer. So when you think about your skill, and this goes against traditional advice. Traditional advice is find something and stick to it and do it for 30 years. We're not on that at the American Cream. I'm going to recommend that you do one at a time, but I'm not going to recommend that you do one for a lifetime. There's a difference. You can do many things. You're born with many talents. You have many interests and many gifts. So when you find something and you're like, okay, what's this skill? It may be something that I'm good at. It may be something that I'm not so good at, but I'm interested in. It may be something that I've always taken a liking to. What is this skill and how can I learn everything that I can learn about it? Because let me let you in on a little secret. The average American is doing the bare minimum. The average American is doing the bare minimum. So when you find a skill that serves others and you commit to continuously learning, you're already putting yourself ahead of the pack because you're saying, I'm not going to do the bare minimum. So that's the number 8, okay? From continuing from last week or the first point of today. Then we're going to go on to understanding the value and the benefit of insurance. If you get nothing else, I want you to understand this. Insurance has a place in your life. I know insurance gets a bad rap in our communities. In our communities, insurance, you don't need that. I'm paying for something I can't see. I don't know if I'm going to need it. Here's the insurances that you need to make sure you always maintain in your 20s and beyond. Health insurance. You need health insurance. If something happens to you and you have to go to the hospital due to a catastrophic event, you do not want to be deciding, well, can I put some tape around this at home because I don't have health insurance, or I don't have the money to pay for it? Or can I go ahead and go into the hospital? And many times I see people where they have these medical bills that are weighing them down long into their 30s, 40s, and 50s that they never paid because they didn't have health insurance. So you need some health insurance. I don't care what your friends and family tell you. You need health insurance. That is the security for yourself. We never know what's around the corner. Get you some health insurance. You got a cell phone. Some of y'all have cars. You taking these trips. If you don't have health insurance, you do not need to be taking a vacation. I am going to say that again. If you don't have health insurance, you should not be taking a vacation. All of your resources, all of your time should be spent investigating how you can obtain some health insurance. And I'm not going, this show is not about what type of health insurance you're going to explore. If your employer is offering it, if you can stay on your parents' health insurance for the longest, do whatever it is that you need to do to get you some insurance. There are health insurance alternatives. If you are relatively healthy and you don't take any medication, you don't have to get the standard type of health insurance. You can play with the type of deductible and type of policy that you get, but you need some health insurance. You need health insurance. And most of the health insurances now, when you do your annual visits and your annual wellness checks, there's no cost for that. Why? Because they look at that as a preventative measure. The insurance company says, since you're coming by once a year, we ain't gonna charge you to check on you. Because the theory is if you come by frequently and you're getting monitored and checked, then we can catch some things early. Then we can tell you, hey, you need to eat more fruits and vegetables. You need to do this, lay off the salt, lay off that. They can give you some advice as opposed to you not going to the doctor and then 5 years later having a catastrophic event. So you need health insurance. Understand that in your 20s. Tape it to your forehead. You also need disability insurance. Disability insurance is if you get sick, hurt, or can't work, who's going to pay your bills? So if you're working at an employer and the little Affleck people or whatever they're called now, they come in and they say, oh, for $2 a month or $5 a month, your family going to tell you, nah, you don't need that. Get it. Because the same people who tell you, nah, you don't need that, if something happened and you need some help, physical help or financial help, are they in a position to help you? Understand that you need insurance and develop a love for insuring yourself and making sure that you're protected. Okay. The third one for today, because it's easier than me going 8, 9, 10. This would be topic number 10 if you're carrying over from last week, but it's the third point for today. Okay. Slice your pie and multiply. Slice your pie and multiply. You're like, what pie are you talking about? Is it peach pie? Is it apple pie? Is it a pizza pie? What kind of pie is it? You can title this pie whatever you want to title it. But the pie that I'm talking about is your skill. Number one, we talked about enhancing and developing a skill and a talent so that you can provide service. You can be the best of the best so that people can pay you for the knowledge that you have. Now I want you to take that. That's the pie that I'm talking about. And I want you to slice that thing up. What does that mean? If you're good at one thing, I want you to be able to divide it. It's my daughter texting me while I'm on the show and she's out. So I thought that it was an emergency and it's not an emergency. So excuse me. Shout out to my daughter, Platinum, 20-year-old. Anyway, train of thought. Okay. I want you to be able to divide that skill, that talent, whatever it is that you do, at least at the bare minimum, at least divide it 2 ways. You should be getting 2 checks from every skill or talent. How does that look? If you are a barber and your clients come to you every single week and you lean them back in that chair and you put that beard oil on their beard or on their head or whatever you do, you should be selling beard oil. Yes, you should. You sure should. You got to figure it out. If you are an eyebrow tech and your clients come to you once a month and get their eyebrows threaded, and afterwards you put your little ching with the chon, little thing on there, you put the little powder and stuff like that, you put it in there, you should be selling eyebrow powder. You should be selling an eyebrow pencil. There is something that you should be selling. You don't even have to be self-employed. You can be employed and your employer is paying you for a skill or a talent that they recognize in you. I want you to get into the habit of saying, they cut me a check for this. How can I create a check on my own? I'm not telling you to leave them just yet. You and your 20-somethings, you still got to get that experience. Remember, we're discovering, right? If they're cutting you a check, how can you create a check? Slice your pie and multiply. That is how you get into the habit of developing multiple streams of income. We want multiple streams of income. We want multiple streams of income. We want multiple streams of income. It is not good enough for you to do one thing and get one check and then say, that's not enough. Why won't they help me? I can't get ahead. So discovering this and developing a plan in your 20-somethings is going to help you and set yourself up for success as you continue to grow. Okay, so number 3 is slice your pie and multiply. One talent, if you got one talent, one skill or whatever, I want you to focus on that one and then multiply it. That's why I said one at a time. One at a time. So that one skill or talent that you have, you don't have to go out. Lots of times, let's talk about this. When I say you need an additional stream of income, I'm not asking you to be a baker by day and a lawman by night. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to focus on your focus and focus on one thing right now, and then figure out how you can maximize everything that you know about it, and also figure out how you can slice that up and multiply it in several different ways. Okay. All right. And I hear a little voice and it's making me uneasy. When I said ching ching, it was not a racial slur. I don't know why it came out that way, but surely I didn't intentionally mean no offense to anyone. Okay. So I had to put that out there so I could clear myself. All right. So let's go. Number 4 is set regular financial goals. Regular, and not regular in the amount, but frequent should be the term. Set frequent financial goals. I didn't turn the fan on today and I'm hot. Set frequent financial goals. Why is it important for you to set frequent financial goals? So that you strengthen that habit. You strengthen the muscle. You strengthen the habit of setting financial goals so that it becomes second nature to you. So that when you're in your 30s and in your 40s and in your 50s, you are used to not only setting, but also accomplishing and achieving your goals. So what does this look like for you? I want you to break it down. And when you set these goals, I want you to create big goals, but I also want you to know that while you have a pie in front of you, you can eat it one slice at a time, right? So it's not, oh my gosh, I got this big old pie, I'm never going to be able to finish this pie. It's okay, well, I'm going to take a little piece today, take a little piece tomorrow. So this is what this looks like. Did you know that if you save $96 a week or set aside $96 a week in 12 months, that will be $5,000? $5,000. You want to do a little bit more? You want to break it down further? If I asked you, can you set aside $33 a day? What would you say? And really think about what you spend in a day. What are you spending your money in? Starbucks costs this, Chipotle costs that. When you go out to drinks for happy hour, it costs this. Can you set aside $33 a day? Can you commit to setting aside $33 a day? Because if you can, when you look up in 12 months, that's $12,000. $33 a day equals $12,000. $96 a week equals $5,000. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? What I'm saying to you is when we set frequent financial goals, we then break them down into bite-sized pieces so that we can easily see it. And it's like, okay, we can do this. And since we're frequently setting goals, we're strengthening that muscle. So as we want to achieve bigger things, we're no longer intimidated. We're getting rid of that scarcity mindset. You got to be 30 to do this. You got to be 40 to do this. You got to be 50. Don't do it. We're starting now. And this is how we're starting. You're tuned into the American Cream Show. This is an unconventional, untraditional financial educational show. Everything that we do here on the American Cream is designed with you in mind so that you can do things differently. It's going to be different from what your friends and family members are doing because you want a different result. It's going to be different. If you want to do the same thing that they have, then you need to do, if you want the same results that they have, you need to do the same things that they did. The American Cream ain't for you. If you want a different result, if you're like Hyacinth, okay, I want to figure this thing out because I know that there is a better way. I know that they say I can do anything I want to do. I achieve the seemingly impossible. How do we do it? Let's get into these tips. The 5th one for the day is start thinking about retirement now. Now, not now, but right now. And you can think about it in whatever way you decide to think about it. But what I encourage you to do is to ask yourself, do you want to have to work forever? Do you have to work forever? Do you want to have to work forever? It's a difference when you have to do something and when you want to do something. It's a whole different energy. If you have to do something, I got to do it. It's like, I don't really want to do it, but I got to do it. I have to do it, as opposed to I want to do it. So if you know that you don't want to have to work forever, then we're going to start thinking about retirement now. And what the birdie that I want to put in your ear is, do not get caught up and your employer sponsored retirement plan or program. Oh, I need to be a part of their 401k. Oh, I'm working and they're not giving me no 401k. Oh, don't get caught up in that. That's hogwash. Want me to tell you why? We'll get into the 401k in depth in another episode, but understand this: 9 times out of 10, when people solely rely on their 401k for retirement, it is not enough. So in your 20 somethings, when I say to you, start thinking about retirement now, I want you to start thinking about it in this way: is what buckets am I setting up for my retirement? One of the ones that I love, and I bought my first property, I think it was like 21 or 22, is real estate. Why? Because real estate can provide passive income for you. Passive income. What other investments do you have? So if you ask your friends and your family members, what do you get for retirement? Oh, if they're only drawing from their 401k or maybe from their pension, if they're old school, because they don't really have pensions. Most companies don't have pensions nowadays. I want you to know that most times it's not enough. So think beyond the 401k. That is not the prize anymore. It don't matter how old you are. If you're listening to this, your 401k is not the prize. It's not the golden ticket. Oh, I want to get a good company with a good 401k. Let me tell you about, first of all, when you get ready to retire, they taxing you. They're going to tax you. They're taking 20% of your money at the minimum when you get ready to retire. And I know they've been telling you all your life, oh, don't worry. When you're older, you'll be in a lower tax bracket. Have you seen what's been going on recently? They want to raise the taxes. You get a stimulus, everybody get a stimulus. Who do you think gonna pay for that? Sanders is proposing free college education. Who do you think gonna pay for it? Who do you think is going to pay for it? You want free college, and then you also want to make a lot of money, and then you also don't want to pay taxes. So we have to think about what we're doing, and that's what the American Cream is about, to put all these pieces on the table so you can be like, hold up. Should I be rallying over here for free college education? Should I be rallying for that? And really think about what happens in college. Should there be some requirements? You just get to go to college for free and have the time of your life and not get nobody's education because it's free, and then I got to pay for it because I'm going to make me some money? I don't think that's right. So when you think about retirement and understand that your 401k, you're going to be taxed down the line when you get ready to retire. And then your 401k also has rules and restrictions. It says if you want to take your money out before age 59 and a half, slap on the hand. Don't do that. But they told me to get a 401k. I know they did. You was 20 and they didn't tell you about the part that you got to leave it to 59 and a half. Because if you want it before 59 and a half, then they're going to penalize you and they're going to tax you. So when you start planning for your retirement, think, okay, I may explore the 401k. I may start exploring a company match and what those things mean to me. But my 401k is not going to be my only source of retirement income. I will have more than one source of retirement income. And affirmation: I will have more than one source of retirement income. I will have more than one source of retirement income. In retirement, income matters. It's not just about you don't want to work no more. It's about where that money is coming from. So if you have not watched last week's video, it is on my YouTube channel, YouTube at Hyacinth Henderson. It is also on this Facebook page. After you watch that, I want you to watch it and take some notes. I want you to come back and watch this and take some notes. If you're in your 20-somethings, start implementing immediately. If you're out of your 20-somethings, go back and look and see, okay, did I do that? Can I afford to do some discovery now? Because if you do not direct your life, others will dictate your life for you. And you'll look up, how did I get here? Well, you were doing what you was told to do. You were doing what you were told to do, and now you're here. Discovering and developing. We're discovering and we're developing a plan. That's what our 20-somethings are about. And for those of you who are out there listening, you have 20-somethings, either children, grandchildren, nieces, or nephews, understand that they're going to do things in a different way. Allow them that freedom to do things in a different way. Do not force them to do the things that you did. Don't force them. Discovery and developing. We're at the 30-minute mark. You have been tuned in to The American Cream. I am your host, Hyacinth Henderson, and Cream is a financial educational show where I show you, teach you, lead you, guide you on ways to redefine the American dream. We are no longer doing things on their terms. We're doing things on our terms. We're doing our education, then we're implementing, and then we're elevating. Cream stands for credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. And before I leave, if you haven't done so already, and even if you have, I want you to do a refresher. I want to encourage you to watch the movie The Big Short. The Big Short. We're going to talk about that. Watch the movie The Big Short. And I want you to understand that that is a movie that is based on true events that happened and that are still happening in today's society. All right. Until next week, stay safe and stay sane. At 10:15, in about 15 minutes, you'll have the Understanding Money Part 2 with Robert Henderson Jr. and James T. Until then, peace.